Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I'm Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves. And we're going to do that with the assistance from my I Am deck. This deck is chock full of positive, inspirational I am statements, things that we can say to affirm our inherent value and worth. And we're going to do exactly that today. We're going to work through one of the affirmations on the card. What's going to happen is I'm going to pull a card. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card. And what I'd like for you to do is to say out loud, I am that affirmation. As we affirm these things out loud, we get to hear them. And as we hear them, we believe that they are true. And as we believe that they are true, we change our own behavior to be in accordance with these things, because we believe that they're going to be true and we act in accordance with our own self-image. And then that's how we change our lives. And so we're going to do exactly that today. So without further ado, let me just pull a card and say that today I am balanced. I am balanced. I center my mind and body. So I am balanced. I center my mind and body. Are you balanced? You are balanced. You center your mind and your body. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write that down in the chat. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to make it real. I'm going to make it more real just by writing it down. And I see that you guys are writing it down too. Way to go, you. You guys are definitely already on the path to doing the thing. We are balanced today. So good morning to you, Brenda Jean. Good morning, Lauren. Good morning, Amanda. It is good to see you guys here today. Thanks for helping me create this positive space on the internet. Good morning, Shauna. It's nice to see you as well. So we are balanced people today. And I really liked this imagery of balancing the stones. I once asked somebody, I said, why is it that every time we go out into nature, you balance stones on top of each other? And he told me, he said, well, it's just kind of show people who come after us that there was somebody else here. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. He said, the nature doesn't really stack itself this way. And it's true, nature very rarely stacks itself in this way, although nature itself tends to be very much in harmony and balance, even without us in it. But we are balanced today. We center our mind and our body. And, Brenda Jean is on the call today. And one thing that Brenda Jean tells me pretty regularly is that when our mind is out of whack, when our mind is imbalanced, oftentimes we cannot use our mind to get out of our own heads. So we can't use mental tools to get out of our heads. But what we can do is we can use physical tools. We can use our body to help balance our mind. And I know it's true because I'm a kind of person who needs to move in order to think. There's actually a very famous story about a prima ballerina in the and basically, or a woman who became the prima ballerina for the Moscow Ballet. And she talked about how when she was a child, she couldn't sit still. And the school was punishing her, and they were beating her, and they were putting her in the dunce cap and putting her in the corner. And it was just so bad. Like, she would not stay in her chair. She could not be disciplined. And so eventually the school finally just got this child psychologist to come and talk with her. And the child psychologist took one look at her and said, oh, she needs to move in order to think. You need to add something physical to every one of her classes. Otherwise, she will never, ever be able to be successful. But if you allow her to move, she's brilliant, and she will be able to learn anything, but she has to internalize it in her body through movement. And she eventually became a prima ballerina, which is like the head ballerina, the lead ballerina for one of the most, what's the word I'm looking for? One of the most advanced or one of the most prestigious ballet troupes in the world. And she was talking about this, and she was talking about how she credited this person for saving her life, because she went from being this complete discipline case that was just getting beaten at school and getting smacked on the ass and having to write lines and having to stand in the corner and having to wear a dunce cap and being considered to be the dumbest person in the class. She went from that to when the education was changed a little bit so that it started to involve her body. And she said math just made more sense when I could dance. She's like, science made more sense and English made more sense. She's like, it was so much easier to write an English essay after I had already run around and danced and got my energy out. And I understand exactly what she's talking about, because oftentimes when I'm in my really heavy thinking, I have to go for a walk in order to clear my head and really understand what I'm doing. And so I am balanced today. You are balanced too. And so we are going to go through life today by striking a balance between our mind and our body, and recognizing that oftentimes we need to center our mind, and we need to move our body in order to center our mind. And so let's give ourselves permission to do that today. And perhaps just like this ballerina discovered, or just like this child psychologist discovered about the ballerina, perhaps we need to move in order to think. And perhaps that's just something that is some aspect of our character. And we need to make sure that we don't judge that we recognize that our body and our mind don't exist independent of each other, that our thoughts and our thoughts are integral to our bodily movements. And that's one reason why I ask everybody to actually say these things out loud and write them down. And because as we say them out loud and as we write them down, we are involving our body in what is ultimately a mental process. And doing so helps us to manifest this in our lives. So let's do that today, and let's just look for opportunities to find balance in our lives, to center our minds and our bodies as we pursue the dreams that are most important to us, and as we love the people around us and care about them, and really make this world an amazing place by being in it. So God, I love that mute button. Excuse me. Still dealing with a little post-nasal drip here. But so anyway, I want to say thank you guys so much for being a part of this morning broadcast, and for listening to these stories, and for being willing to play along. I've heard a lot of stories from people who tell me that they listen to this broadcast, and they kind of lurk on here. People who I never even suspected, and they say that just listening to this stuff and saying these words has really changed the character of their own internal monologue. And that's what it's done for me. And I know that's what it can do for you as well. So thank you guys so much for being here and enjoying and playing with me today. I see that Jin and Tonic have joined the broadcast. I want to say welcome to you guys. Thank you so much for being here and helping me to create this positive space on the internet. So I will return tomorrow at 9 a.m. We're going to pull yet another one of these I Am cards. I have 36 of these things in a physical deck. You guys saw that I pulled a physical deck. I have physical deck of cards here. If you would like to get yourself or get your hands on a copy of that, send me a private message and I will be happy to tell you what it takes to get that done. Until then, thank you, my friends, for being awesome. I love you and care about you. And I believe all these things that I say about you. So we are going to meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. Until then, aloha from paradise.